good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope feeling grand and all is well in your world. Hello there, everybody. I just broke another high E string. This is the third high E string I've broken in about a week and a half. I'm getting frustrated, people of the tube. I keep breaking them. It's always the high E string as well with me. Forever in my life, it's been the high E string. Anyway. Frustration station. You probably saw in the intro jam, we constantly have to retune the high E string on the Jag. Kept going out. I was feeling like this is going to go, but it lasted the whole song and snapped after, so that's good. Anyway, but it wouldn't stay in tune. Anyway, that's part of the challenge and part of the fun. But I'm still frustrated. Anyway, PewDiePie, welcome to ANQ Wednesday. Before I get started, if you'd like to submit a question for ANQ Wednesday, please go to the description box below. There's an email link. Email me your questions there. Okay, so, let's get to question one today. So question one today is, please talk about the guitars you played on your recent Andertons visit. You talk about the Murphy Lab guitars. And did you buy the East Coast? If not, you should have. I did buy the East Coast, yes. Hopefully you've seen the video by now. I did buy the East Coast Gold Top. Had to have it. Literally, my quest for a Gold Top is over. I am so happy. I love it to bits. It's amazing. Even though I broke its high E string in the video as well. I'm doing really well recently with high E strings, I've got to say. I just go through spates of breaking strings. Does anyone else get that? Like, you know, where you just can't keep your strings. I always forever breaking them. Anyway, but yeah, so let's talk about the guitars. So, my favourite guitar that I played while I was at Andertons, I've just noticed you're a bit wonky, people of the tube. Let me just correct that slightly. There we go. My favourite guitar I played that day, apart from the East Coast, which was my favourite, but the second favourite was the Flying V. The 58, I think it was, reissue. That V was amazing. Again, wouldn't stay in tune, because it was just so... Again, it's just unsettled. It hasn't been played a lot, so they're just a bit whippy-wappy. But that's to be expected, you know. But that was my favourite guitar. That V sounded and played amazingly. I'm getting drawn to Vs. Has anyone else noticed this one? I'm getting pulled to Vs a lot. I really love them. They really do feel... I've always felt really at home with them as well. The first V I owned was a vintage V. I forget the model number of it, but that was amazing. And I sold that one, and I shouldn't have sold that guitar. That was silly. But I sold it because I needed money at the time, so it had to go. The V I've got now that Mike gave me, I absolutely adore. His Gibson V was beyond special. And that V I played in Andertons was absolutely amazing. Like I said, if I had the money, I would have walked out there, that shop. I would have walked out of Andertons that day with the Gold Top and that V. But that V was way beyond my price range. So that V was my second favourite guitar. The second Murphy Lab Les Paul was probably my third favourite guitar I played that day. That second Les Paul was... It had it. It just had it in spades. The first one sounded good, but it didn't clean up very well on the volume control. When you turn the volume control down on the first guitar you see in that video, the guitar went really muffled and muddy. It just was like, all of a sudden it was like that, and it had no character when you rolled the volume back. But the second one, no matter what you did with volumes, it retained its clarity, and it also felt the best and just played the best. The first one, I think, looked the best when you're up close and personal. The first one I played was just perfect in the way it looked. It really was. But the second one was the best Les Paul I played. The third one was okay, but it wasn't the best. Again, if I had to walk out there with one of those Les Pauls that day, chance to be a fine thing, it would have been that middle one, which again, weirdly enough, was not my first choice. The first guitar you see me playing is the one I really wanted to play. And the second one I played was kind of like, it wasn't really even in there. I wasn't interested in playing it, but I thought I'd try it. And I'm glad I did, because that one was the one. If I was to buy one of those guitars that day, it would have been that Les Paul, one of those Les Pauls. My other favourite guitar was the Pia. The Steve Vai Pia was perfection in guitar form. I don't know what it is about the gems and now the Pia, but they're just so well designed and well made. It's unreal. That is another guitar. In all fairness, people with a tube, I would have bought most of the guitars I played. If money was not an object, I would have bought them all. Well, apart from the first Les Paul and the third Les Paul. But and also the EVH guitar was nice. The Eddie Van Halen guitar was really, really nice, but it wasn't the best. And in all fairness, it wasn't set up particularly to my tastes. You know, it was the action was a bit too high on it. But other than that, it was a great. It's so cool to look down and play that Frankenstein Eddie Van Halen guitar. To see it like when you're playing it is amazing. The necks are amazing as well. The neck was fantastic on that guitar, but the action left a lot to be desired. But again, you know, they're not set up for everybody. You know, it wasn't for me. Somebody else could pick it up and go, "That's perfect," but for me, it wasn't the ideal setup. Same thing with the Murphy Labs, to be honest with you, as well. That V wasn't set up to how I'd want it either. But again, you know, personal preference. They're not set up to me. You know, they're set up as to a spec, and that's the way they are. And if we ever get to own something like that, you know, we can then set it up to however we want. But like I say, they're all amazing. The Johnny Winter guitar, the Firebird, was amazing. Although I kind of don't know why they didn't reissue the Sunburst Firebird that Johnny played, because that's the one I associate him with more. I know he had the white one and a lot, but I associate Johnny Winter with the Sunburst Firebird more than I do the white one. But that was an amazing guitar. I loved the sound of that thing. And the way it looked, looking at it up close and personal, was so cool. And like, you can kind of see some of the dints and the dents, and obviously that's a reproduction of Johnny's, and it just makes you think about, well, what did that, and when did that happen, and you know, where was he when that happened? It's so cool. It's so cool. I can't even imagine what it must be like to be in the vicinity of the original Johnny Winter White Firebird, or even his Sunburst Firebird. It must be insane. But all in all, it was awesome. It really was. We were in there for like 2 hours. We were literally messing around. Queenie was playing some basses. I was playing guitars. We were in there for about 2 hours. But again, as soon as I played that the Gold Top, the East Coast, I had to have it. And being from the East Coast, people of a tube, it was very fitting. So yeah, I've got an East Coast guitar to fit with the East Coast boy. Anyway, but yeah, so they're great. They really are cool. And again, I really enjoyed going around a guitar shop again. I haven't been around a guitar shop like that for such a long time. You know, with everything, you know, none of us have. It's so nice to be able to get out and actually go to these places again. Like I said, that was the third time I'd been to Andertons. I'd never been in the shop, so that was the first time I'd been in the shop, and it was like awesome, absolutely awesome in there. So cool. So yeah, but the guitars were amazing. Those Murphy Lab guitars are so spot on to the originals as well. I mean, that second one really did feel like Spot. It really did. It sounded like it as well. It didn't quite have the zing, but it was very, very close, like ridiculously close to the zing of Spot. But it felt the same, and they look the same. I've still got pictures of Spot on my phone, and we were comparing the pictures I've got of Spot to the Les Pauls I was playing, and the way the finish checks, the colour, you know, the way they are, the way the neck feels, everything was spot on. It's literally terrifying. They are the closest reproductions of a 59 I've ever played, those Murphy Lab ones. Which is funny, actually, because I always find the R9s to not feel like a 59, or the R8s to not feel like a 58, or, you know, the ROs. They don't feel like the real thing, whereas these Murphy Lab ones felt exactly. It was terrifying. It was literally like playing a real 59. It was mental. The necks, the way the neck felt, the necks were so good. Oh my god. One of them was choking out. I forget which one it was, but again, they're not set up to kind of like, you know, to be like, you know, it's a general setup, you know. But one did choke out, but again, Spot choked out, you know. So the real 59 choked out, and so that happens. But again, it's nothing you know, a setup couldn't fix, you know what I mean. But they are amazing. They really were amazing. I really loved it. It was great fun, and it was just nice to be able to kind of like get hands-on with these things and just mess around with them for a little brief period of time. The other standout thing that day, PeopleTube, was the hook amp I played the Les Pauls and the V and the Johnny Winter guitar into. I forget the model of the hook amp, but my God, that amp was amazing. It really was. Anyway, I could talk about it forever and a day. I'm going to move on though now, PeopleTube, to question 2 today, because I would talk about Murphy Lab guitars and the Gold Top and the Pia. I want the Pia so much. I really want the Pia. Amazing guitar. I can't afford it, but maybe one day. Anyway, let's move on to question 2. So question 2 today is, what are your thoughts on modifying an SG with split coil humbuckers wired with the ability to switch from humbucker to single coil mode and for switching in and out of phase? That's what I think to that. Go for it. That sounds like fun. And not only would that make the guitar more versatile, ridiculously versatile, it just gives you so much more kind of room for expression and freedom of expression. It's ridiculous, that is, because again, you've got all these different tones. So I would say go for that. You know, if you can do that and you want that, go for that. You know, coil tapping and phase splitting, go for it, because it's really cool. It's really cool to have a guitar like that. You know, I love it when a guitar is multi-function. You know, something like that. I mean, I'm not a big multi-function guitar guy because I just love single coils, but I do love it when you get something like that where you can kind of go for all the different sounds and stuff. Yeah, I would recommend that. Go for it. That's really cool. You didn't mention anything else, did you? Should the mod be done on a Gibson SG, Epiphone SG, or other SG? Any. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Gibson or it's Epiphone or it's vintage or it's whatever. You know, if you want to mod it, it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, you can always go back from wiring modifications to originals. You know, that's the cool thing about these things. You know, if you wire them in such a way, you know, if you have push-pull pots for everything, so like for instance, like, you know, the 2 volumes of push-pull to split the coils, and then the back 2 are phase, then it doesn't really matter how you do, what guitar you wire it on. That's totally up to you, really. But I would say go for that. That sounds like fun. That really does. I'm still on the SG hunt myself. I've had a lot of SGs, and not a single one of them has spoke to me. That SG, coming back to question 1, I played an SG in Andertons, and that was a really nice SG, but it wasn't the one, but it was nice. But it wasn't the one. I'm still on the search for an SG. PeopleTube. Anyway, but yeah, that's a very short answer, but literally I've got nothing else to say other than go for it. Do it, and let us know in the comment section when you've done it, or whatever video, let us know how you got on and what it's like, because I want to know. But that's really cool. Okay, so I'm going to move on to question 3 now, PeopleTube. So question 3's got some multiple bits to it. So question 3 part 1 is, what is or are your favourite lyrics? I've got a lot, but my standout lyrics are Pearl Jam Black. The lyrics to Black really, the first time I heard that song, it really affected me, and it just keeps affecting me. And in all fairness, when I got this tattoo done, I was going to get another tattoo done on this arm, because at the time my sister was a tattoo artist, and it was her then partner who did this one, Miyamoto Musashi, and I was going to get my sister to tattoo the lyrics to Black all down this arm. And I'm still going to get that done at some point. I want those lyrics on me because they really mean a lot to me. But it was, yeah, my favourite lyrics of all time are probably the lyrics to Black. And the way Eddie sings it in the early days is just immense. There's so much power to him. And again, I can relate to those lyrics so much. You know, they really they go in. You know what I mean? They hit very deep, they do. So that's my favourite lyrics. But again, I've got so many. Who are your favourite lyricists? Eddie Vedder, for one. John Frusciante, Jimi Hendrix, Rory Gallagher, Peter Green. You know, the list goes on. Kurt Cobain, Paul Rodgers. The list literally goes on and on and on and on and on of my favourite lyricists. I've got loads. There's so many people I love their lyrics of. It's hard to pick just one, but I say I've got a huge list. So the next part is, what is it about their lyrics you particularly like? It's just the meaning behind it. You know, these are real people singing about real things. Apart from sometimes Kurt or someone would take the mick out of his own lyrics. But in a way, there's still something kind of real in there. You know what I mean? Because Kurt always said in interviews he would write some sincere lines, and then he'd have to take the mick out of it. And again, I think that was his coping mechanism to not let people get too close, so to say. But it's just they mean it more than anything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and they write about things that have affected them, and they affect us all at some point. You know what I mean? Black, for instance. You know, who hasn't been there? And I just love how sincere they are most of the time. I mean, yeah, John's got some lyrics that like, what? You know, there's a song on to record Water for 10 Days where he talks about flying a ladder around. Okay. You know, and some of John's lyrics are kind of nonsensical to me, anyway. But some of the lyrics really hit home. There's a line in Going Inside, which is, if anything unfolds, it's supposed to. And I love that line because it's so true. You know, if anything unfolds, it's supposed to. That's amazing. And it really is. Yeah, that is so cool. I love that to bits. That's such a great line. And again, there's all sorts of other lines in different songs. Like, you know, Rory Gallagher's got some great great lyrics. Edged in Blue. I mean, that song's heartbreaking. Jimi Hendrix, I mean, God, Jimmy's lyrics are just unreal. They really are unreal. You listen to the lyrics to 1983 and, you know, a merman, I should turn to be. Those lyrics are insane. You know, Voodoo Child, though. I mean, Voodoo Child has got some of the coolest. Stand up next to a mountain and I chop it down with the edge of my hand. And I love it, you know, I love that line he sings at the end, like, the question's no. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's Jimmy just being kind of silly, but I still love that nonetheless. But the lyrics are amazing. You know, Purple Haze, the lyrics to Purple Haze, Foxy Lady. The list goes on and on and on. Jimmy's lyrics are just literally amazing. They're so cool. They're so imaginative as well. Like, John's lyrics are imaginative. They really are. And I love Eddie Vedder's lyrics, because Eddie's lyrics are always really, really heartfelt. Kurt's are kind of like heartfelt and silly all at the same time. He kind of like, he would take the mick out of things, and some things wouldn't mean anything, but they would mean other things. I always find the lyric in Serve the Servants really sad, where he says, I tried hard to have a father, but still I had a dad. And I don't really know quite what he meant by that one. Unfortunately, I've not been able to talk to him, but it's a sad line, you know. And You Know You're Right has probably got some of the saddest lyrics, I think, in the world. We all knew it would come to this, you know. No thought was put into this. We always knew it would come to this. That man knew what he was doing, much to the upset of fans like me or some people, you know, you out there if you're a fan of Kurt. That man knew he wasn't going to live very long. He just knew it. You know, that lyric, that song says it all, and the chorus just screaming pain. I mean, my God, what? It's heavy, people of the tube. It's very, very heavy. It really is. And I can see why Dave Grohl can't listen to You Know You're Right. Not only for the fact it was the last song they recorded, but my God. That is, it is very, very out there with Kurt. That is all on show there. It really is. So moving on to the next part, question 3, is, because I could talk about it all day and I'm going to get upset, because Kurt means a lot to me. So anyway, moving on to the next bit. Who is the most famous guitarist you've seen in the flesh? Well, John Frusciante, I saw him at Hyde Park and Don Valley, saw them. I saw him closer at Hyde Park than I did at Don Valley. Mike McCready, I saw Mike McCready live with Pearl Jam. Justin Hawkins, Dan Hawkins, they're two of my favourite guitarists. Who else have I seen? Most famous, I would probably say the most famous would be John Frusciante. I mean, I know Mike's pretty well up there, and Justin is as well. Same with Dan. I don't think Dan Hawkins gets the attention he deserves as a rhythm guy, and also his lead stuff is amazing. But he's an absolute hammer. Dan is. When I saw The Darkness play, like the way Dan attacks the guitar and the way how tight he is with his guitar playing and his tone. Oh my god, that man. Jesus crikey. He really is a powerhouse, the absolute beast, and it's really cool because, you know, it just gives Justin that ability to be what he is, the front man. You know, you can totally rely on the rhythm section of The Darkness. It's amazing. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else. There probably is, but I can't think. Muse. I saw Matt Bellamy. Matt Bellamy's probably, I don't know. I would say Matt Bellamy's up there with John Frusciante in the level of fame, and especially what he did with guitar. James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, saw them. Darren Malakian, A System of a Down, saw him. Who else are we talking? I've seen Rise Against. I thought Rise Against were amazing. I really like them. Who else have I seen? Yeah, I would probably say, like, you know, the most famous ones I've seen are John Frusciante and Matt Bellamy. Because Mike McCready, not everyone knows who he is. He kind of flies under the radar. The Darkness are kind of like, you know, love it, hate it kind of situation. Well, saying that, everyone's love it, hate it, isn't it? That's a really silly thing to say, Dave, you idiot. Anyway, but yeah, so it kind of like, I would say John Frusciante or Matt Bellamy would be the ones. I remember seeing Muse play at the Nottingham Ice Arena in 2004, and it was really cool, but I was kind of disappointed in the gig, to be honest with you, because they didn't play for very long. They only played for like an hour and 10 minutes, and their main set lasted about 45-50 minutes, give or take. It was over before it started. It was really weird. It was a really strange gig, actually. I don't remember being particularly wowed by it. And I remember, like, they did their main set, and then they came back on for an encore, and they did a song called Forced In, which is a B-side. And they jammed this song, Forced In, for literally about 15 minutes. But it didn't go anywhere. And I was just a bit, like, underwhelmed by it. And then they did Stockholm Syndrome and left the stage, and that was it. And I was a bit like, that it? I expected more, and we didn't get it. It was very strange. Like I say, their main set didn't last very long. Oh, I do remember that at the end of it, it was quite cool. Stockholm Syndrome finished, and Matt went and dragged his 4x12 Marshall cab. He dragged it over to the front of the stage, put it over his guitar, stood on it, and was rocking backwards and forwards. And then flipped the cab over and put all microphones he could on that cab, and just left the stage with it feeding back. That was really cool. But in all fairness, I was very underwhelmed. I expected to be, like, you know, blown away, and I kind of wasn't blown away, to be honest with you. It was kind of a bit kind of meh. I think it cost. How much did it cost me to go and see Muse? I mean, it was like something like 15 quid or something like that. I don't know. It was so cheap. I've still got the ticket. People cheap. It's not here, so I can't exactly remember how much it cost me to go and see Muse in 2004. But it was sub £15. I remember going to Leeds Festival, and it cost for the whole weekend something like 45 quid for the whole weekend. You know, that's unheard of these days. Anyway, but yeah, they're probably the most famous guitarists I've seen in the flesh. So, who is the most famous guitarist you've played or jammed with? Probably my friend Charlie, but he wasn't particularly well known, but he had been. You know what I mean? He was well known, but not really. But I haven't really jammed with many well-known guitarists, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't think of any apart from my friend Charlie. And again, he wasn't really particularly well-known because, again, of when he was around kind of thing. But to me, he was, you know, my hero. But let's not go down that line there because I'm going to get more upset. But the most famous guitarist I've played with, I haven't really played with any famous guitarists. I haven't, have I? No. Nope, none. Like I say, I haven't played with any. I literally can't think of any. There isn't any, is there? No. Sorry, I'm double and triple checking in my brain, people who tube. So give me a sec. No, none. Like I say, not well-known famous guitarists. None. I haven't jammed with any. And finally, the last part of question 3 is, Who is the best guitarist you've ever played with? Are loads. There is loads of guitarists I've played with who are just like that. My friend Matt. I've got a friend who lives in London called Matt Park. He's a session guy, and he plays pedal steel and guitar and all sorts of other stuff. And he's literally like, that's not right. How are you doing that? He's amazing. When I was in London at the ICMP, I had some tutors there who were just like mind blowing. There was a guitarist called Tollis, and he was amazing. There was the one called Dario. He was amazing. Phil Capone was this other guitarist who taught me, and he was just like insanely good. Like there was just ridiculously amazing guitarists that I've played with over the years. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on with that. You know, the guitarists that I play, like some of the guitarists I play with, I'm just like, I don't get that. How how amazing are you? You know, so it's really hard to say. But I've played with a lot of really, really good guitarists. Really good guitarists. I played with a lot of bad guitarists as well, but I played with a lot of really amazing guitarists. And there are just a few off the top of my head that I can think of. Funnily enough, Justin Guitar, the YouTube site, the YouTube page, Justin Guitar, whatever his name, I can't remember the thing. He actually used to be at the ICMP when I was there, and he actually took me for my audition to get into the institute in London. He actually took me for my audition when I went down. For my friend Matt, who I just spoke about, who's one of the best guitarists I know, he drove me down to London, and then at Justin, who's got his own YouTube channel, Justin Guitar, who everyone seems to know, he teaches everything. He took me for my audition, and I spoke to him for quite a bit. But so that was quite cool. But yeah, anyway, I hope that's a question. I'm going to move on to final question of the day. Question 4 now, people of tube. Okay, so question 4. I'm going to have to read this one because there's quite a lot to it. I know you can see. Quite a lot. So let me try and kind of scan through all this. Struggling to make a decision after a HSS Strat. And you don't know what to get. But you're thinking of maybe getting the Jet JS400 and potentially swapping the pickups because it's a bit of a cheaper thing to do. Than looking at maybe getting an expensive Fender or something like that. Okay, so I would recommend doing that because you were talking about you're not sure the build quality of the Jet. The Jet's build quality is insanely good. I would put it right up there with Classic Vibe, Squire, easy, and they are a fraction of the price of a Classic Vibe. So I would definitely recommend. I mean, if you want a HSS Strat, definitely go for the Jet. And again, try the pickups first. You might like the stock ones because the stock pickups in my Jet Strat are amazing. I have no desire to change them whatsoever. They're just perfect. They sound amazing. So I would recommend go that route. And again, if you've got to mod it, then jobs are good in because the Jets are a really good modding platform. They really are because again, you can't really do much to them. That because they're so cheap, you could always go and get another one, kind of thing. So to say, within reason. But I would recommend that over going to buy a Fender or something more expensive and then having to swap pickups. I would recommend the Jet definitely because the build quality is amazing. It really is. I was so impressed with the fit, finish, everything. The fretwork, the necks, everything about those guitars is unreal. It really is unreal, and I don't know how they do it for the price, but it's impressive. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. And again, for the price, for about 150 quid, you can't really go wrong. You really can't. And again, as a modding platform, you can just do anything. Because if you don't like the pickups or the electrics, you can just rip them out and replace them with other stuff, and you've still got a really, really good guitar. And the necks are amazing. The build quality is amazing. They're just wicked. They really. I cannot rave enough about Jet guitars. People with YouTube, I really can't. I want to get one of their Telecasters. I keep seeing them about, and I really want to get one of their Telecasters to try. I might buy one soon, actually, just to see how it goes. I'm going to go to... I'm going back to Lincolnshire soon, so I might get one from Gallagher's in Grimsby if he's got any in, because I really want to try one of their tellies, because their Strats are amazing. I kind of want to try their full range, but it's going to take me a bit to get through it, so I can afford to do it, because I have dentist stuff to pay for first. Fillings falling out. They shouldn't have falling out just yet, and I'm not overly impressed about that. They haven't been in a year. Anyway, I'm just going to do my own fillings, people of YouTube. Just put, like, melted guitar string in. That'd be healthy. Anyway, but yeah, I would recommend going for the Jet. Like I say, they're nice, they're cheap, and they're extremely well made. And again, modding as a modding platform, you can't really go wrong. You really can't. It's really, really cool. Yeah, so I would definitely recommend that. Definitely recommend that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there is. I'm trying to think if there's any other brands I could recommend. I'm not sure if East Coast, because again, I don't. Oh, the Ibanez Azez. That they do it. They do a HSS. And the Azez is a great guitar. I don't know how you say that. Azez is. I don't know. They do a great guitar. I don't know. I'm pretty sure East Coast, like the Andertons' own brand, I think they do as well. But I'm not sure about them, so don't take my word on that one. But I would recommend the Jet. Like I say, there's also Ibanez, the Azez. They're amazing guitars as well. And again, good modding platforms as well if you want to mod them. There's a lot in there you can kind of change and really mess with, so it's really, really cool. And again, because they're cheap and cheerful, you're not really going to kind of lose a great deal on them, so to say, if you don't like what you've done. So it's always really cool. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend. Anyway, but again, this is just me. But yeah, anyway, that's it, isn't it, people do. So yeah. So I hope the question's okay, people do. I hope there's something in there you can all take away, and there's something in there, just something informative, at least something. I hope. Scared now. But yeah, other than that, like I say, if you want to submit a question for ANQ Wednesday, description box below, email link, email me there. If you like the videos I do here, please consider becoming a patron at Patreon. It really helps me out. Basically, without Patreon, I couldn't do this. Simple as that. My patrons keep me afloat. They really do. So I'm grateful to every last one of my patrons. You all rule the day. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much indeed. Like I say, without you, I wouldn't be here doing this. So beyond thank you. I don't there isn't enough words, and the words don't exist to exactly explain my gratitude towards my patrons and patrons on Patreon. It really isn't. There's also links to my music in the description box, as well as a link to my merch page as well. Yeah, so other than that, people tube, I'll see you again on Friday for another video. You will see how this came to be. And until Friday, everyone, have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. And goodbye now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions. And see you again. Goodbye now.